Well, it's not premature to make the pivot to decarbonize. How that decarbonization works is another matter, but we have a massive amount of capital going into carbon capture and sequestration. Decarbonizing what's needed, and fossil fuels are needed. It's wishful thinking to think that the world is going to grow power generation that's non-interruptible based on renewables. That's not going to happen in the next 10 or 15 years. So we're in a world where we have to live with fossil fuels, whether we like it or not. Mm-hmm. And at the moment, the unfortunate part of the way things are pricing is that oil is pricing below its social contribution.
Yeah, definitely. With regards to, though, the push into more renewable forms of energy, and particularly all of the talk we have here about EVs, part of the commodity boom that we've seen as of late has been, if I'm not mistaken, directly tied, particularly with some of the industrial metals and minerals.
Oh, undoubtedly. The demand for power generation is ubiquitous. You take the three largest economies in the world, the European Union economy, the U.S. and China. They're all moving toward that EV world in an accelerating way, and that requires more power generation. And what do you need to do that? You need batteries. And what do you need to make batteries? You need an array of metals. You need nickel. You need lithium. You need copper. Yeah. You need aluminum. You need cobalt and manganese. So it's a commodity-intensive environment, particularly metal-intensive.
Right. Yeah, Edward Morse, I got one question, and this comes off our important interview with Andrew Forrest, the giant of Perth in West Australia, on green hydrogen. He's got more money than God, and he's putting it into green hydrogen. We're going to crack ammonia and come up with a free lunch here. Do you buy, as a carbon guy, the future of green hydrogen, or is it a myth?
Oh, no, it's by no means a myth. The question is, how quickly will we see the cost structure coming down? There are two major cost structures there. One is the cost of renewables. They are going down.
Yes.
We're seeing
what about the electrolyte?
But the electrolyzer is the other one. And the big thing that we're waiting for is economies of scale. We're seeing electrolyzers really made by, they're not quite ma and pa companies, but we haven't seen the build out of the economies of scale that are required. Mm-hmm. And that's going to be there. And then the question is going to be location, location, location. Where is there going to be the combination of electrolyzer availability and non-interruptible wind, non-interruptible solar? And Australia is very well positioned on the renewable side.
Edward Morse, thank you so much. With Citigroup, we look forward to speaking to you as we launch through the summer a commodity boom. You know, I look, Romaine, I look, Lisa, at where we are on Bloomberg Green and the idea of looking at theory, but also folding it into price theory and price economics and bringing green hydrogen down to where it's even remotely feasible. We're distant from that.
Well, we are, but Romaine, this has actually been one big conundrum for this year, is that some of the input metals for some of the renewable energies have surged, which actually puts a dent in some of the quest to get greener. And I just wonder how we're going to resolve that.
Well, back to my point about the meme stock Ford, we should point out the CEO there, he was talking about this on Wednesday at that investor day. And a part of what they're trying to sort of sell is this idea of better efficiency with use of those materials here. So the idea you go from 100 kilowatt per hour with regards to the batteries that go into those EV vehicles, and you get that down to something like $80 per kilowatt. So you increase the efficiency here, and maybe that blunts the impact of what you're just doing to the earth.
I mean, I don't have time for it here, Romaine, but we'll bring it up again. What a shock at ExxonMobil to see climate change come in and readjust the board.
Well, absolutely. I mean, it's not that shocking when you take a look at the ESG of some of these big firms. What are they going to do about it, though?
Well, you know, we make jokes about it, but the pendulum of ESG, it's been an ESG week. Romaine, John Farrell's going, what are they talking about? Do a data check. Futures up 15, Dow futures up 169. Stay with us on a Friday to begin your summer. Right. This is Bloomberg.
With the First Word News, I'm Rishka Gupta. The Russian hackers behind the SolarWinds campaign have escalated their attacks on U.S. federal agencies, think tanks, and non-governmental organizations. That's according to a blog post from Microsoft's Vice President Tom Burt. In April, President Biden ordered sanctions against 32 Russian individuals and entities, including 6 companies that provide support to the Kremlin's hacking operations. Japanese Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga is extending a state of emergency for Tokyo and other